awareness about open source security, specifically in the India and the larger APAC geographies. So I have some good news and some bad news. um, Bad news first. Uh, the person that I was going to host on this stream is unfortunately not going to be able to join us. So Vaishali, if you're watching, this is just a reminder to um, click onto that restream backend and try and join the event. If not, you know, no offense meant, none taken. We can probably reschedule this stream with you about confidential computing and your experience and other things as an FX mentee to a later date. So please let me know. The good news is you can either stop watching right now or you can stick along, where I'm going to take you through a very short demo of a project called Scorecard. Now, Scorecard is an OpenSSF project. So, a lot of you might already be doing some open source work. And what Scorecard aims to do is provide that ability to assess the health of your own individual open source projects. So, if you're a maintainer or a contributor, or if you have some GitHub repos that you're fond of shopping around and things like that, then I would highly recommend using Scorecard in order to assess the health of your repo, check how well you're doing, and basically get a sense for how secure your open source repo is based on a number of best practices that have been made public by the OpenSSF. Now, before we jump in, just a few quick housekeeping announcements. This entire sort of initiative is known as the India Initiative. The idea is to, like I mentioned, emphasize the hard work that a lot of India based security advocates are putting, and to make a lot of their work visible and to bring some awareness of OpenSSF projects and things like that to developers, especially open source contributors and maintainers in the area. So, as a part of this initiative, we're doing both in person and virtual events. The focus is going to be on virtual events, and conduct a number of such, not such, we're going to conduct a live streams, participate, and different people do that. There is a YouTube playlist on the OpenSSF channel. So, if you go to the OpenSSF YouTube channel, there's some streams from the past weeks slash months with different guests discussing different areas of computer security, especially in the open source world. Now, the OpenSSF is centered around a bunch of different projects, and these projects are basically different. You can scan the QR that is somewhere here. These ways in which different working groups have come together and made different projects available for people to consume. Now, what has emerged as part of different people working on different projects are what we are actually showcasing here as an individual open SSF project. So I'll give you an example. One of the more popular projects is this one known as Cosine. A Cosine is a project that was developed as part of Sigstore. It basically allows you to add a digital signature to different artifacts that you have. Now, Cosine is more broadly, marketed as a project by the folks at ChainGuard. That's the company that's a lot of whose developers are a part of the Cosine project, who initially at least spawned it, and then a number of different companies as an example of a true open source project. A number of different companies, you know, contribute in terms of engineering and docs and things like that. So Cosine is a popular project, and it's a part of the OpenSSF now. There are similar projects that you can check out. Salsa is one such project. So if you head to salsa.dev, or if you conveniently just scan this QR code, which is somewhere here, uh, it'll take you to the Salsa project page. And a lot of the Salsa contributors are part of the OpenSSF community, and they work on the Salsa project, which aims to define security levels when you're creating software artifacts. So um, what that means is there's different pieces of software that will comprise of your end project, I guess, that runs on production. And those are composed of different, or the all of that is composed into a single project that is run, and there's smaller pieces everywhere. For example, there's some container images, there's some other libraries that you pull in, etc., etc. And Salsa aims to define a kind of security that incorporates this build process, and it incorporates whatever went into the process behind creating that artifact, publishing that artifact, and making it available for others to use and things like that. So it pulls in a lot of different things, such as cosine, for example, for attestation, and for showcasing what provenance is, and which basically means where did this artifact come from, who built it, is it safe for me to use, etc. So there's a number of different projects like these that are a part of the OpenSSF, and today we'll be talking about the OpenSSF scorecard. So, scorecard is a tool that will, like I said, help you assess the health of your projects. Once again, I really apologize for our guest not being here today. Um, and yeah, uh, we'll take a quick demo of scorecard, and we can probably make a quick stream of it. So, in order to showcase this demo, I'm going to quickly bring up my terminal. So, I believe this is visible to everybody, and I did a quick trial run of scorecard itself. So, scorecard is available as a CLI tool. No, so much like any developer tool, I guess, scorecard is available as a CLI tool that you can make use of in order to um, assess what the health is of your repo and things like that. Now, scorecard is also available in different forms, such as a GitHub Actions tool. It's available right next to your GitHub repos, so you can actually take advantage of um, using it and things like that. The way you install scorecard is pretty simple. Let me show you how that is. So you can. I'm on a Linux machine. Scorecard works very closely with Go, and so it has to be, there's a package you can download and untar it to the same directory as your Go executable. So if you copy it there, that's really all that you need in order to install scorecard. So when you run it, um, it'll obviously ask you like a bunch of different things. So scorecard is always run against a repo, and so for example, this is my, or anybody's, I guess, um, default way to use a scorecard. So you type scorecard and then you specify a repo. So it can be, let's see, any repo. So what it will do is, okay, this is not found. Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. So that's the repo I tried from before. Let me try that. So what it will do is scorecard will spawn off a number of different tests. Um, it'll spawn off that are under these categories that you see on 14. I counted last 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. No, 18. I'm sorry. So there's 18 different categories that run a total of, I think, 35 or 36 tests. And each of these take a look at different aspects of and build security for them. So, for example, it takes a look at whether code reviews are happening on this repo, if a sufficient number of CI tests have been written, if there are any binaries that are a part of this um, repo, and if branch protection is sufficiently being applied, and things like that. So, all of these tests are run, and the result is a weighted average score is then given for a particular repo. So scores can be very simple checks. In this case, you get a 10 if there are binary. If there are no binary artifacts, you get a 0 if there are binary artifacts. So it's very binary that way. But also other things are, um, there's 30 PRs that have been merged, and all of them are running some form of CI tests. And so this is accorded a good score. But you can tell that, if there's an insufficient number of PRs that have insufficient number of tests, then those are not going to get a full score. Um, there's fuzzing, and there's a license file that is present, and so it is a more secure thing. Um, so there's other checks like, are things maintained? So it'll check the past 30 out of 30 commits, and then um, there should be 30 commits in the past 90 days, and so there's a score on that. And so there's some kind of numeric value that is assigned to each of these different things. Now let's check something else. I have a branch of a project that I maintain. Let's try and make an assessment and see how well I'm maintaining that. My guess is probably not very well. So that I'm just doing this to highlight what are the kind of scores and other things that we end up with. um, and that's really what scorecard is about. It's a very simple tool that can provide a lot of value in terms of what it actually shows. So my best guess is a 4. Yeah, so a 4 out of 10. um, let's go through all of these to see where I fall. So again, in terms of binaries, there's no binaries found, so I get a good score. But in terms of branch protection, it's not been enabled on the branch that I'm working on. I have not written any CI tests. There's different organizations that are contributors to the original repo, which I forked, obviously, um, and so on and so forth. So that's really what this is. There's some vulnerabilities that need to check. So because there are 7 vulnerabilities, it gives me a 10 minus 7 score of 3. So this is basically how scorecard works. Um, it's going to stop sharing for a bit. I'll show you a bunch of other things related to the project as well. So let's see. All right. So hopefully you're able to see this browser window. So head to scorecard.dev. That's the website for the project, and it will give you details about what the check is and other things. And this is what I wanted to specifically show. So there's a GitHub action that you can use, and it's very straightforward how to install it. So you can click the button here just to do that. I was obviously using the CLI, um, and the way you work with it is pretty simple. And there's, for the different checks that we saw, each of those is given an aggregate score. So some checks are low risk checks, some checks are very critical checks, and so depending on how well you score on each of them, your weighted average will obviously change. And it's based on a lot of theory that is contributed by a lot of people who are industry veterans, and so you can go through what the full assessment is like, um, and you can basically start applying scorecard checks to your packages and your other open source um, repos at work, on your personal things, and um, you know just generally improve the overall security of your repos. So that was my short talk. Once again, apologies for our missing guests. And hopefully, I get to see you on another stream sometime in the future. Thanks for watching. Please help spread the word, and head to OpenSSF if you're interested in learning more about the project and things like that. There's a whole bunch of different free courses in open source security that the OpenSSF has. These are a part of the Linux Foundation training initiatives. So if you're interested in some free courses that you would like to take, I would highly recommend you take them. There's a flagship SOS Fusion event that's happening in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States in the month of October. So, if you would like to be a part of it, please check out the website. The name is Sauce Fusion, and it's a very interesting collection of technical and non-technical aspects of open source security. Um, if you like to work on the intersection of technology and policy and people and education, particularly for the security domain, I would highly recommend putting this on your radar. Otherwise, give us a follow. We're on Twitter at OpenSSF. We're you know available for any conversations that you want to have about open source security. And I look forward to seeing you